Welcome to Creative Fairy Tales, where we peel back the layers of enchantment to reveal the hidden truths and dark undertones of your favorite childhood stories. Our mission is to delve deep into the realm of fairy tales, those captivating bedtime stories we're all familiar with, seemingly innocent narratives of princesses, mystical beings, and heroic adventures. But are they truly as innocent as they seem? We're here to unmask the deception and shed light on the veiled reality. From the well-known tales of the Brothers Grimm to the lesser-known narratives from around the world, we'll be exploring the dark underbelly of these beloved stories. So fasten your seatbelts and prepare for a journey into the unknown. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon to join us on this intriguing adventure. Stay tuned as we delve into the shadows of Little Red Riding Hood. Be warned, the forest is not as it seems. In the universe of fairy tales, things aren't always as innocent as they may appear to be. Let's take a step back and think about all those captivating bedtime stories we're familiar with. Stories of princesses, mystical beings, and heroic adventures. They seem pretty benign, don't they? These are the tales that are meant to be our safe harbor during childhood, a realm of imagination where good consistently overcomes evil. Yet, behind this facade of innocence, there's a hidden darkness we're about to shed light upon. Take, for instance, the story of Little Red Riding Hood. This narrative, with its striking red cloak and appealing forest backdrop, can easily lure us in with its seeming straightforwardness. But let's take a moment to delve deeper. Isn't it odd that we narrate to our children a tale about a young girl stranded in the woods who stumbles upon a dangerous wild animal? The wolf, masquerading as a harmless grandmother, deceives Little Red Riding Hood, leading her into a world of deceit and risk. This story, under the camouflage of harmless fiction, covertly acquaints our children with the notions of stranger danger, duplicity, and violence. Of course, I'm not suggesting that we need to protect our children from all potential threats in the world. However, it's crucial to ponder what we're truly imparting to them through these seemingly benign narratives. Are we unintentionally instilling fear, skepticism, and a sense of vulnerability? Are we presenting these lessons in a vibrant, misleading wrapper that makes them acceptable, but not any less dangerous? The reality is, fairy tales aren't just simplistic narratives. They're meticulously crafted tales, deeply rooted in historical background and cultural significance. They carry messages, moral values, and lessons that infiltrate our subconscious mind, manipulating our behavior and comprehension of the world around us. So, as we delve further into the core of these stories, let's proceed with caution. We must be ready to question, to scrutinize, and to discover the reality that lies beneath the surface. Hold on tight as we navigate through the obscurities of Little Red Riding Hood. Be warned, the forest is not always what it appears to be. Beneath the cloak of Little Red Riding Hood, a tale of terror unfurls. This ostensibly innocent story, a staple in children's literature, harbors a dark undercurrent. We're often blind to the harmful themes woven into its fabric, themes that, when exposed, reveal a tale that is far from benign. The story of Little Red Riding Hood is drenched in deception. The wolf, a cunning predator, masquerades as the girl's grandmother, manipulating her innocence for his own sinister ends. This theme of deception is not just disturbing, it is dangerous. It suggests that those who should provide safety and comfort, like a grandmother, can instead harbor a threat. What kind of message does this send to our children? Moreover, Little Red Riding Hood herself represents the epitome of vulnerability. Alone in the woods, she becomes an easy target for the wolf's malevolence. The story paints a picture of the world where danger lurks in every corner, and the innocent are left defenseless. It is a narrative that breeds fear and anxiety, fostering a worldview steeped in paranoia. And let's not forget the violence that punctuates the tale. The wolf devours the grandmother, and in some versions, Little Red Riding Hood herself. This brutal act, presented as a plot twist, is in reality a stark portrayal of violence. Such explicit brutality can be deeply distressing for young minds, potentially leading to nightmares and other psychological issues. The psychological impact of these themes on children cannot be ignored. Fairy tales, after all, play a significant role in shaping a child's perception of the world. They absorb these stories, internalizing the messages within. When those messages are tainted with deception, vulnerability, and violence, what kind of world are we teaching them to expect? Thus, Little Red Riding Hood is not a simple tale of a girl and her grandmother, but a chilling narrative of danger and deceit. A narrative that perhaps we should think twice about sharing with our children. The subconscious mind absorbs, and the damage is done, silently and unseen. Underneath the seemingly harmless veneer of Little Red Riding Hood, a subliminal onslaught is unleashed upon the tender minds of children. Let us delve deeper into this dark abyss. As children hear the tale, their young minds are still learning to distinguish between fantasy and reality. They soak up the story, absorbing every detail, every emotion, every underlying message like a sponge. However, this absorption isn't always benign. The dark themes woven into the narrative seep into their subconscious, shaping their perception of the world around them. Fear, a primitive instinct crucial for survival, is exploited mercilessly in this tale. The once safe and familiar woods transform into a menacing landscape, a haven for the predatory wolf. The beloved grandmother, a symbol of warmth and safety, becomes a prey swallowed whole. This fear, instilled subtly yet effectively, can escalate into chronic anxiety, leaving children to grapple with an undefined sense of dread that lingers long after the story ends. The tale also distorts reality, painting a world where deception and brutality reign supreme. The wolf, disguised as the grandmother, fools Little Red Riding Hood, teaching children that those they trust can turn out to be dangerous. This can lead to a distorted perception of reality, where trust becomes a luxury they can't afford, and suspicion a necessary survival tool. Furthermore, the violent end of the wolf, slain by the huntsman, teaches children that violence is not only acceptable, but also rewarded. This can desensitize them to aggression, making them more likely to resort to it as a means to resolve conflicts. The implications of these subliminal messages are far-reaching. They can mold children's minds, shaping their beliefs, attitudes, and behaviors. They can influence their relationships, their choices, and ultimately, their lives. A child's mind, once a sanctuary of innocence, now a breeding ground for nightmares, thanks to Little Red Riding Hood. But remember, awareness is the first step towards change. Let's shed light on these dark corners of fairy tales, so we can protect our children from their subliminal damage. The repercussions reverberate, a silent epidemic spreading through the veins of our society. As the echoes of Little Red Riding Hood's haunting tale ripple outwards, we find ourselves facing an unseen epidemic. These seemingly harmless fairy tales, with their dark undercurrents, are seeping into the fabric of our society, tainting the innocence of our youngest minds. They are not just stories, they are harbingers of a culture steeped in fear and violence. Imagine for a moment a world where children grow up fearing the woods, the unknown, and the unfamiliar faces. A world where trust is replaced by suspicion, curiosity by caution. Little Red Riding Hood and tales of her ilk, they don't just entertain. They shape perceptions, mold beliefs, and instigate a culture of fear. The wolf, a symbol of the unknown, becomes a figure of terror, prompting a knee-jerk reaction to mistrust and fear the unfamiliar. This is the unseen epidemic we grapple with, a silent plague fostering a society that shies away from exploration and discovery, nurturing instead a worldview tainted by apprehension and dread. But as we unravel the threads of this epidemic, we must also understand its roots. The content our children are exposed to, the stories they hear, the images they see, these are the seeds from which their understanding of the world grows. And if these seeds are laced with fear and violence, what kind of world are we cultivating for them? It's crucial, then, that we scrutinize what we feed our children's minds, that we question the innocence of a fairy tale before we relay it to young, impressionable ears. Because in essence, these tales are not just about princesses and dragons or little girls and big bad wolves. They are about the world and how we choose to present it to our future generations. In the end, it's not just about a single fairy tale. It's about the collective impact of these innocent stories on our children's psyche. The time to act is now, for the sake of our children, for the sake of our future. In place of stories woven with threads of darkness and fear, we can offer our children narratives spun from the fabric of hope, courage, and empowerment. There's a vast panorama of tales, both old and new, that inspire without employing the tactics of terror or subliminal harm. These stories are the shields we can provide to our children, the tools they can carry into the world, not as victims, but as heroes of their own stories. Consider tales where characters are not helpless victims, but rather, they are the masters of their own destinies. Stories where the princess isn't waiting for the prince to come save her, but instead, she's the one slaying dragons, solving riddles, and saving kingdoms. Or where the young boy doesn't need to be the strongest or the bravest, but he triumphs through kindness, intelligence, and perseverance. And it's not just about choosing the right stories, it's about how we tell them too. We can narrate these stories with an emphasis on resilience, empathy, and personal growth. We can highlight the importance of friendship, courage, and standing up to evil, not out of fear, but out of a strong sense of right and wrong. We must also urge our educators to be mindful of the tales they tell in our classrooms. Encourage them to dissect these stories, to question the norms they perpetuate, and to foster critical thinking in our children. Let's not just tell our children stories, let's teach them to question and understand them. In the end, it's not just about shielding our children from the harmful tales of yore. It's about equipping them with stories that empower and inspire, that teach them to be brave, kind, and thoughtful. We have the power to rewrite the narrative, to protect our children from the hidden horrors of Little Red Riding Hood and its ilk. Let's use it wisely. The end. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the dark underbelly of Little Red Riding Hood. We hope you found our exploration enlightening and thought-provoking. As we step into a new chapter, we hope to inspire change. We have the power to choose the stories we share with our children and the way we tell them. Let's pick tales that inspire courage, resilience, and empathy. Let's tell them in ways that highlight the importance of kindness, intelligence, and personal growth. Let's teach our children to question the norms and think critically. Don't forget to check out our other videos where we delve into the hidden truths of more fairy tales. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more fairy tale truths. Remember, the world of fairy tales is not as innocent as it seems. Stay curious, stay vigilant, and keep exploring with us. Please leave a comment about the fairy tale. Until next time, our warmest regards. Goodbye and take care.